Hey everybody, David here, and today I thought I would do something a little bit simple. I wanted to tell you guys what my top 10 favorite rides were going to Disney World last year. At the end of last year in December, I went to Disney World. I did so many videos up about it. I either did the full day videos, which is like an hour and 20 minutes long each, and I also did separate videos that if you don't want to watch the whole 1 hour 20 minutes, you could watch the rides and shows and character interactions separately from everything else if you want. So there are many different ways you can watch my videos. So specifically the ride videos, I'll maybe even put links to some of those rides, the ride videos separately in the description area below, so that way if you want to check out those rides on my channel, you can go check those out, except one of them, because one of them I didn't film, so I had to borrow from another YouTube channel, and I'll credit them in my video when you see that ride pop up. So let's do this. Now, some people are gonna think, David, where's all the throw rides? I am more of a dark ride guy than a throw ride guy, so you're gonna see a lot of dark rides on this list more than throw rides. I do enjoy some throw rides too, but usually I have my eyes closed a lot of the time because I'm a chicken. I'm not gonna deny it. I'm not too much for roller coasters, but there are some roller coasters that I had fun with, and two of them made my list here. So let's get right into it. At number 10, I have Toy Story Mania. That's right. Despite me going on it in California earlier last year, when I went on it again, I still love this ride. And the queue is even so much better in Florida than it was in California. The one in California made it look really cheap, so I was like, my expectations were really low going into Toy Story Mania. But now that I knew what it was when I went in Florida, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm excited. This ride was a lot of fun. And then going into the queue, it was like, wow, this one has a better queue than the one in California. And I get it, the one in California is supposed to look like a carnival. Well, this one looks like you're in, because it's in Toy Story Land, you're supposed to feel like you're in the world of a toy, so it's made out of, you know, toy stuff, right? Like you're seeing giant size etch sketches and giant size Uno cards and stuff like that, so it's like crazier when you go into the queue. So going into the ride, obviously it's a lot of fun. Me and Kevin challenged each other. It was so much harder filming this time because in California I didn't film, but this time I was filming while playing the game and I lost. I still think Kevin cheated because of that, but it was my choice. I just want to point that out too. But yeah, that ride, so much fun. At number 9, I have 7 Dwarfs Mine Train. This was my first time going on this ride, and I had heard so much about it. So my expectations were pretty high because a lot of people really like this one. And thankfully it's a roller coaster that I didn't have to close my eyes. I was perfectly fine on, and it was so much fun. I think the people behind me they were laughing their asses off and everything, and singing hi-ho along with me. If you go and watch that video, I'm like singing hi-ho once we're in the mines and going up and all that. It's fun. It was a lot of fun. So definitely one of my favorite roller coasters. I didn't get to go on Big Thunder Mountain this time, but I remember I went on it in a previous time, and I really enjoyed Big Thunder Mountain. Unfortunately, it's not on this list because it wasn't the ride that I went on this time. So if I ever go again, maybe it will make the list next time, you know? At number 8, I have Tron Light Cycle Run. Now, I'm gonna admit there was one part of this ride where I did have to close my eyes. It was the outside portion, which is only in the beginning. And then after that, I opened my eyes because I'm like, okay, we're indoors. Now I can feel like because I'm a little afraid of heights. That's why I had to close my eyes. And so once we were back inside though, and it looked like we were in the world of Tron, I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm in the world of Tron, and I'm gonna race these guys beside me. You know, I was gonna swear. But yeah, it was fun. Tron Light Cycle Run lived up to the hype, and I really had a good time on that one. I'd honestly probably go again if I could, so you'll never know. Maybe Florida, maybe one day I'll be back, so we'll see. Number 7, I have Frozen Ever After. Now this might surprise people because, you know, Frozen isn't my top 5, maybe not even top 10 Disney animated movies. But it is a good movie for me. I'm not on the hate train like some people are. I'm like, no, Frozen's a good movie. I even like Frozen 2. So Frozen Ever After, I was excited to go on it. And look, I think it's a really great ride. I hear the one in Shanghai, I think it's Shanghai Disney or Tokyo Disney. I don't remember which one has it. They have the animatronics without the light faces, the digital faces, which obviously makes it a lot more better. And looking at it on the screen, I get why people say that, because sometimes the digital faces go out once in a while. Thankfully, I didn't have that problem. But looking at the 2 videos online before, I do think the animatronics without the digital faces do look a lot better. So I'll agree with that. But for what it's worth, I still enjoyed this ride. I thought it was a fun dark ride. I love dark rides. Definitely one of the best modern dark rides at Disney today, for sure. Moving on to number 6, I got Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Now, I've heard some mixed things from people about this ride. I don't know if it's just about the queue or the ride itself, but I'm gonna honestly tell you, I love this ride. I think it's so much fun. I think they finally gave Mickey a fun ride. Now, some people say it's probably because some people are butthurt that the ride replaced the Great Movie Ride. Now, I went on the Great Movie Ride a long time ago. As a film fan, I like the Great Movie Ride, but judging this ride on its own, I think it's a lot of fun, and it was definitely one of my favorite rides in California, and it's one of my favorite rides in Florida as well. It didn't make the top 5, obviously, but I think there's a lot of fun there. I like the trackless type of ride, right? Where you're not on a track and you don't know where it's going. It's like a lot of fun there. And I will say this though. I do think the queue in Disneyland is better than the one in Florida. I'll agree with people on that part, because the queue in Disneyland makes it feel like you're going into a movie theater. You look at all these props and stuff from a lot of past Mickey Mouse shorts and stuff. If you know your Mickey Mouse cartoons, you definitely see a lot of Easter eggs in that place, including some Easter eggs to Fantasia, as well as the Mickey's Christmas Carol. So there is a lot more eye candy for the Easter eggs for the fans that walk through that queue. Where the one in Florida is more, you're going into the Chinese theater that's a replica in Hollywood, and so it's kind of you see more posters than anything else, which is not as fun. I'll agree to that part. So there's not as many Easter eggs that I guess people would have enjoyed looking at while they're in the queue. But for what it's worth, the ride itself, I still think is a lot of fun. Number 5, I have Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. I love Ratatouille. It's one of my all-time favorite Pixar films. And the ride lived up to what I was hoping it would be, especially when you enter those sets. I know it's a mix of screens and sets, but when you enter the set areas, how they make you feel like you're actually part of that world is really cool. How they mix a nice blend of both sets and screens. My only thing is, I think they should have added more smell effects, because there's a ride that I have over this one that used smell, sound, and feel. Probably one of the best 4D rides that I'll get up to next. But yes, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is such a great attraction. So I had a good time, and I took my little Remy with me. That I know it broke down the first time, but that didn't ruin my enjoyment, thankfully, because it broke down only at the end. But I got to go on it a second time. So either way, it was a lot of fun both times. So moving on to number 4, sorry. I have Avatar Flight of Passage. This is the only one on the list that I didn't get the footage of, so I had to borrow from another channel. Yeah, Avatar Flight of Passage is super enjoyable. I had a great time with it. And this is the one that I'm hinting at. Probably the best 4D ride you can ride at any park. The sound, the smell, the feel, like they really make it feel like you're in those atmospheres that you're flying through. The way the water splashes on your face, it's like, wow, I feel like I'm in this world. Like, this is, to me, better than Soarin'. And I know a lot of people like Soarin'. I think it's fun, I think it's cool, but I think this one takes it to the next level that I'm like, wow, this really gets you right into what you're watching. And it's only on a screen. They say something about heights, like there's a height a warning in the beginning of before you get on the ride. I don't know why, because you're just looking at a giant screen, and the simulator that you're on just moves. It's always in the ground. It doesn't go high, it doesn't go low. So if you're worried about like height, I mean, unless you're really into what you're watching, I guess you can maybe get a little scared of the height factor. But I mean, to me, I think they over exaggerate on the warnings sometimes, and Avatar Flight of Passage really does a great job at making you feel like you're in that world while riding on this simulator. I thought it was fantastic. So I was blown away and so glad that it was one of the first rides I went on in Animal Kingdom. Number 3, I had to put some classic rides on here. Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion still to this day is one of my favorite rides. I had to go on it in California too. One day I gotta ride the Nightmare Before Christmas version of this ride. I know that one is only in California, in Disneyland, not in Florida. I don't know why, but either way, I love the Haunted Mansion, no matter what version I think it is. I think I'd like to see the Christmas overlay in Disneyland as well, but the Florida one, even if it doesn't change, it's still an enjoyable ride. Every room you go into, it's like, this is so amazing. Next up, I have Pirates of the Caribbean at number 2. Again, 2 classic rides back to back. I mean, how can you not like Pirates and Haunted Mansion? Pirates, Captain Jack Sparrow. I think this is my first time in Florida seeing the Captain Jack Sparrow character on the ride. Same thing with when I went to California earlier in the year. I think this was both my first times seeing Captain Jack Sparrow on both versions of this ride. So it was really fun, and then getting to pick on Captain Jack later, the Captain Jack character at the parks. I saw him and I said, man, you're not very good at hiding. And he's like, did you catch me or did you see me? I'm like, oh. It was such a fun little video I did, interaction video. But the ride itself, man, I can never get tired. I agree though that the Disneyland version is slightly better, especially the way it starts, where it makes you feel like you're in that atmosphere, and especially seeing the restaurant go by. That was a lot of fun, but yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean in Florida to me, it's just as good. I don't care which version it is. The one in Disneyland obviously starts off better, but I think once you're there, I think the ride in Florida is just as good. Once you're, riding it, it's like, who cares? Okay, yeah, it's the one in California starts off better, but this version is still just as good. It's great seeing all those animatronics. So I love it. I love it. And then yo ho, A Pirate's Life for Me. I mean, that song gets stuck in your head almost as much as It's a Small World, but Small World I don't care about as much, obviously. But Pirates, that will always be one of my favorite classic rides of all time. Finally, at number 1, I have Rise of the Resistance. This was my favorite ride going into in California, and I'm gonna tell you, it's still my favorite ride in Florida. Man, the way they transport you into the world of Star Wars makes you feel like you're actually in a star, not a Death Star, a Star Destroyer, whatever. It's like the most amazing experience that any Star Wars fan or even a film fan can appreciate and love. The way they make that place that you feel like you're actually in the world of Star Wars. Galaxy's Edge in general does that really well, but this ride, once you're in the headquarters of the villains and you're seeing Kylo Ren and Hux, General Hux, like there, and the stormtroopers all around, and the cast members who are playing the First Order even before you get on the ride are really good at their job, especially when they're like looking at you like, oh, these guys are in trouble, It's like there's some fun interactions sometimes with those guys too. So Yeah, Rise of the Resistance, easily my favorite ride at Disney World that I experienced this past winter. And man, I really want to go to Florida again one day, but I think I'm thinking of California next time I go. You know, I had such a great experience going to both parks last year that, you know, it doesn't really matter to me which one I would go to, but Florida has a lot of great rides there as well. Some new ones that I didn't try before and some ones that I have already tried no matter which park I went to. So such a great time. Hopefully if you are going to Florida, maybe these are some rides you want to check out. So go ahead, have fun, and until next time everybody, I hope you enjoyed my list of my favorite Disney rides in Walt Disney World in Florida. I should have listed which parks each of them were in, but sorry about that. Until next time everybody, take care.